Hello everyone and welcome back to Brick Rigs. We're here on the Canyon map for a change, just for a change of scenery, but then also because there's train tracks, and you all probably know what train tracks mean. I've got a new train to show off, effectively. So, there we go. Now that this thing's loaded, let me just get it out. There we go. So, you may all remember my previous little steam train. It was black. It was called Little Bertie. Yeah, black, the coal scuttle behind it. And yeah, it was just a nice smaller train, which was the original theme that I was going for. But then I decided to go one bigger and effectively add on rolling stock, which is what I've got here. So the actual train itself is unchanged, apart from some colour difference. So it's got grey wheels. It's now in a brown colour. It's called something different, Track Queen. And it's also got carriages on the back of it, as you can see. So yeah, that's fun. So it's got on here G.rail for Greater Railway, rolling stock number 26 on both of them. Max load 100 kilograms. They're just simple oak wooden. As you can see, there's some oak grain in there, and they're just sort of open carriage style things. And they're just small rolling stock pieces. And then you've got this thing back here, which is carrying a large steel pipe on it. You've got some on it. You've got some you know, poles, which is just to secure the load in it better, and then it's got the thing over the top of it. And I'm actually going to adjust that because I've just realised something, which is that this thing is too high. I should probably bring it down. There you go. That should be better. Let's see what that does. Yeah, okay, that doesn't quite fix it. Okay. Running repairs are now being commenced. There you go, that'll be the reason why. So there's a simple way of fixing that, and that is by getting a 3x1 plate, or 3x. No, let's just go for a 2x2 flat plate. Something like that should be good enough. Oh, there we go. That fixed it. So, yes, the steam train itself unchanged. If we go, as you can see, it pulls it along perfectly fine. Still using the same electric motor inside of the boiler here. As for its top speed, as you can see, we're going at 23 miles per hour, which is about the top speed of this thing. With this rolling stock, unfortunately, yeah, the rolling stock appears to have derailed itself. But you get the idea. It's a nice little steam train with some rolling stock. Yeah. I mean, it's still got the pistons, you know, on the wheels there. It's still got the smoke coming from it, as you can see. Smaller smoke for when it's not actually being powered, and then big plume of smoke for when you are going. As you can see, first person, it's all very nice. As long as you sort of regulate your speed, I guess you can stop them from derailing, sort of. There you go. See, now that we've stopped going downhill, I think if you do go too quickly or you bump like that, it will derail. But other than that, yeah, they've got stoppers on them, bumpers and things, and it's just a nice little train with some rolling stock. So then what I want to show is, if we find it, I just want to reacquaint everyone with this thing, the experimental heavy assault gun. This was my first attempt at doing a breech loading, reloading, heavy rocket artillery sort of self-propelled gun sort of thing. And as we can see, fires the rocket off, boing, you can elevate and lower the gun, and you can reload it like so. Open the breech with pitch, and then if you go with alt and pitch, you'll move the plunger in to move it. You can move that back and then close the breech again, and the breech will just simply ram it home for that last few feet. And there we go. Rocket's now reloaded. It's a twin shot rocket, but it was my first attempt at doing this, and it worked. To an extent, you've got radio operator's position back there, a little radio, driver's position, seat for 3 loaders, or a commander and 2 loaders, and yeah, it was a decent enough assault gun. You could take out structures with it, you could take down other tanks with it, and it was all very well. But then I went one better and made this. It has a magazine, basically. This is now a 6-shot rocket artillery, whereas before you had a 2-shot in a 1+1 configuration, as in 1 currently loaded and 1 in spare. This is now a 5+1, so you've got 5 spare and then 1 currently in the chamber. So it works all the same. You can elevate the gun, fire it off like so, off it would fly. You could then open up the breech again, and then you can ram home another rocket, bring the breech back, and then close it again. All very normal. But then how do you get the rest of the rockets across? Well, if you press alt and use steering, and that will bring your next rocket, a long one. Obviously be sure to line it up correctly, that should be about good, and then you can fire it off again. And yeah, if we open up the breech again, bring in another rocket, bring the next one along, there we go, and then close the breech again. There is the second rocket now, the third rocket now loaded in. Fire it off again, open up the breech, shove in the next rocket, close that up, bring the next one along, and then close it up, close up the breech, and yeah, rinse and repeat until you fired off all of your rockets. So yeah, it's once again proving the breech loading mechanism to be, well, you know, effective. And then, yep, close that up, and then move this whole thing along one, fire off the rocket again, open up the breech, shove in the final rocket, and there we go. So the final rocket was now, or is now loaded, and now you've just got this big old magazine just sort of sticking out the side of the other side of the vehicle. It makes for controlling it a little bit tricky, but yeah, it's it's a magazine loading, breech loading, heavy rocket assault gun. Whereas before, to get this kind of capacity, you would need 3 of those experimental heavy assault guns. This is now 3 of them rolled into 1, albeit not as good in a city environment because, well, you've got the big old plunger sticking out the back, but then now you've also got these massive wings sticking out the side. But other than that, it works perfectly well. You know, you can fly. And yeah, it works. I was very happy with it, because as I was building another creation, I thought, you know what? Oh, it's actually still alive. I thought, you know what? How difficult would it be to create several rockets in a formation like that? And well, here we are. As it turns out, it was slightly tricky, but still, it worked out. Some things have had to be changed. For example, the radio operator has had to be moved forwards and to the side. The radio aerial is now sticking out the top. The seats have had to be changed slightly to encompass the magazine sticking out the other side again. Yeah, other than that, the driver's position is pretty much unchanged. Yeah, it all looks pretty much the same except for the fact that you've now got 6 rockets. And yeah, that is the newest rocket creation, because, well, if you as an enemy was scared by the original experimental heavy assault gun. That thing is going to be even more scary. But yeah, so then we come to this thing. Now, this thing is a continuation of the military truck, because as you can see, it is pretty much the same. It is open topped, you've got all of the lights and things are still on here, you've still got all of the lights all working, but then you've got it in a half-track configuration. And I think out of all of the military truck variations, I think I prefer this one the most. Or at least it is definitely one of my favourites, and the whole reason of that is because, well, it is in a half-track configuration, which means that whereas the original truck, the original OG truck was, well, a bit top-heavy, to be frank, because of the amount of wheels in this half-track configuration, it is now far more stable. Also, it is far better over rough terrain. As you can see, we are bumping all over this with absolutely no problems whatsoever. We are keeping perfectly flat and level as we go over this rough terrain. As you can see, that rear suspension for the half-track configuration is going and working wonders for us. And yeah, it is basically an improved version of the original truck. It is better over rough terrain, it's more stable, more sturdy, it looks possibly better, I think so. I base this off of the US M5, M6, or sorry, M5/M3 half-track designs, hence why you've got that familiar looking half-track configuration at the back. And yeah, it's just a very good half-track truck creation. Yeah, nothing much has changed. I changed the lights actually to be flat plates rather than the studded plates, how they were for the truck. But other than that, yeah, it's the same old truck. It's just more stable. As for the next thing that I'm going to be showing, it is going to be this thing. It is another tank, but as you can see, this thing, it is a futuristic tank. Yeah. Okay, forget what I just said there. I'm not going to be showing you that because I've already shown it. I thought it seemed familiar, but then, yeah, I have actually shown it before. So instead what I'll be showing is this. And if you're thinking, well, we've seen this before as well, yes, you have. This is my German twin-engine World War I bomber. However, this is an actual bomber, because underneath the wings, we've got bombs. Yeah, if I can actually take this thing off, which may be a bit tricky because we need a long runway, but there we go, that feels like it's out. Yeah, we're flying at this point, let's just... yeah, there we go. So as you can see, it flies exactly the same. I changed the propellers with the bigger propellers that we've got. I just added them on to the front just to see if it helped flight capabilities. It didn't really, but as you can see, we can now fly over the valley. And yeah, I'm just going to sort of dive down here. So the controls are all exactly the same. However, the bombs underneath the wings here, they are controlled with left click and middle mouse. So if we get a decent way to the ground, okay, let's just try and hit this ridge line here, not with our plane, but there we go. So left click and middle mouse will drop the bombs, as you can see here. So the bombs are now away. I'm going to have to regain control of my aircraft, pretty sharpish. Oh dear, no, that's not gone well. Yeah, it still nose heavy, but as you can see, that explosion was not caused by my plane, as shards of it go into the air everywhere. But the bombs do definitely work, as you saw there. They work best in the city because there's actually things to blow up. But as for the plane itself is unchanged. It's still got, you know, it's still got the wingtip lights, as you can see up here, the port and starboard lights. It's still got the running lights for the exhausts on the actual engines, which is just a nice touch. The tailplane tailplane has been reinforced actually with a single 6x4 flat plate, or an 8x4 flat plate, I can't remember. But then the tail wheel was also just look at that. Look at it. It looks like a biplane. I'm still very pleased with this aircraft. I do like it a lot. But yeah, the tailplane was reinforced with steel because, well, the extra weight of the bombs. It just meant that we needed some more reinforcing on it. In fact, let's actually try and bank it around, and we'll just head down here. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a biplane. It feels like a biplane. It's got twin engines. It's German. God, I thought I was going to like crash there. Yeah, let's try and find our home base. It's over here, isn't it? Yeah, there's the thing down. Let's just try and bomb the base. Why not? Precision bombing. This is, except it's me, so it's not going to be precision bombing. But there we go. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, we're off centre, but the aircraft hopefully shouldn't crash before the bombs hit. So there you go. As you can see, bombs going away. Down they go. There's the plane itself, and bang. There we go. So yeah, they work. I didn't regain control of my plane, but yeah. As for the bombs themselves, they're just some fuel tanks which have been loaded with nitro because it has decent explosive impact on it, and it also has a very low impact resistance, which means that when it hits, it generally goes off. The front is just capped off by a single 2x2 dome, and then the rear is capped off by a 2x2 cone. And I wanted to add little fins on it, but yeah, okay, they're difficult to do, so I just sort of left it at that. But it works, no doubt. And now the final thing that I'm going to be showing is something that I found whilst, well, touring the post-apocalyptic wasteland of England, and it's this thing. If you're wondering, what the hell is that? It looks like a plane which crashed onto a truck, and you're not wrong, really. So this thing, as I was touring the post-apocalyptic wasteland of England, I saw in the distance above the tree line a tailplane, and I was like, yeah, okay, seems like a crashed airliner, might hold useful supplies for my trek across the wasteland. And so I went and had a look at it, and blow me down, wouldn't you know, there's a truck attached to it. Very rusty truck, but still nonetheless it's a truck. In fact, it's actually the half-track variant of the military truck because, well, out of character. I just wanted to use the half-track because, you know, I love the half-track now, but anyway. So yes, the people that own this, they were friendly enough, and I talked to them a bit, and what they've actually done is that the two of them had originally been nearby to London Heathrow when the apocalypse hit, and after lying low for a bit, they found a crashed jetliner and also the remains of a military blockade. And so what did they do? Well, the half-track was pretty beaten up, so what they did is they stripped off the back of the half-track and just attached the entire rear of a British Airways jetliner onto it, because why the hell not? So the actual truck itself, very, very rusty. It hasn't been looked after at all, really. No lights on it, the number plates are all hanging off, and it's all very rusty. They've had to replace a couple of the wheels, as you can see. There's one replaced there, and there's two steel repairs on there as well. Lots of things are coming off. The rear view mirrors are all very rusty. The whole bodywork is also very rusty. Many of the wheels are, yeah, not in pristine condition. But what they did is that because this thing isn't meant to be running over zombies, there's no zombie scoop on it. Many of the lights have fallen off, but yeah, because it's not meant to be running over zombies, there's no zombie scoop or anything. There's steel bars in the windows which have been kept good condition because, well, of course, it's the way into their home. The tailplane itself was... the tailplane itself has been unchanged as well. It's still got all of the designations on it, so, for example, I don't actually know. Just revealing, I don't actually know exactly what jet planes really look like at the back, so I just sort of made it up as how I thought it would. So the rear rudder, it's got sort of like an English flag, it's got the Brick logo there, it's got a BAAW 152 for sort of like aircraft designation. It's got the same on the fuselage. The fuselage, these white bits on the fuselage are all made up of aluminium, because, you know, aircraft are generally made up of aero aluminium. It's still got the flaps. The flaps don't actually work, but you know, it's still got the flaps. Yeah, and the rudder is still there as well. It's still got some of the British Airways logo on the side there. AW195 is still on there. The front was actually capped off because, of course, they basically hacked off the front of it. And yeah, the front was basically capped off with a steel plate just to sort of protect it slightly. If we go to nighttime, because yeah, I assume it's nighttime now, as you can see the front lights don't really work. Not that you could really see, but yeah, there's no rear lights as well. Reversing lights as well, only one of them works intermittently. As for the warning lights, yeah, there's not much to really talk about. Some of them work, some of them don't. The side one sort of works. And yeah, but the real thing that we all want to know is about what they've done to the inside of the actual fuselage. But first, you can open up the side doors, as you can see. If we change it back to daytime, you can open up the side doors. So there we go. Yeah, simple as. You can also get to the back of the fuselage actually through the cab, just in case you needed to get out in a hurry, for example. But as you can see, there is a side door there. Sort of sticks out a little bit, and you've got a little handle here. Out of character, the only reason that I made this was because my friend told me I didn't know what to build next, so I just asked my friend, hey, what should I make? And then he was like, build a camper van that you can actually walk into and sit inside. And so I was like, alrighty then, I've tried it before, how hard can it be? I then thought, well, I don't have to make it into a normal caravan or a camper van. I can make it into anything that I want, I just have to walk inside and be able to live in it. So I went for a post-apocalyptic one. But anyway, as for the fuselage, you can lower the door, as you can see. The side door comes down, and you can, yeah, just sort of get inside of it. You can hop inside of it. In fact, let me... where's the seat? There we go. There we go. So, you're probably thinking, what on earth are those lights? Well, as you can see, you can hop inside of it. Just hop onto the door. And you're now inside the fuselage. It's got lights. You've got 2 sleeping bags for you to sleep in. It's got a table. You've got 2 chairs. You've got some supplies back here. You've got some large water coolers and some little bottles of water. You've got a big old red toolbox, and you've got some canned goods, and a little ladder to help yourself get up there. And yeah, you can sit inside of it, as you can see. In fact, if we just close up the door, as you can see, you can be protected from any sort of roaming zombies. And yeah, you've got a little table where you can eat things. You've got some supplies and things. You've got, you know, sleeping bags, and you can drive around in it. What more do you want? Yeah, it's an interesting version, I will say, but definitely fun. Acceleration, very bad. Mobility, pretty bad. City environments are pretty much a no-go. If you wanted to scavenge in a city, you're not doing it in this. You would sort of need to go in a convoy, or at least have a bicycle or something that you can just attach to this thing, which you could then sort of scavenge inside of the city. So yeah, acceleration is pretty slow because, well, as you can see, the rear suspension suffers a lot from having this massive aircraft chassis, basically, this massive aircraft fuselage on the back of it. But nonetheless, it is a fun creation. It's certainly very striking. All of these things are on the workshop for you to download. Okay, yeah, okay, so we accidentally hit it, and there goes a wheel. There goes both of our front wheels. We are now stuck. Well, time to fly. Oh, it actually glides. Interesting. And yeah, there's the engine. But yeah, that is all of the things that I've done recently. Yeah, great fun to get to fly the twin-engine bomber again. Also, the half-track lorry is probably one of my favourite military vehicles now. It just feels better and it's more stable. And yeah, there's some interesting things in this. Yeah, so I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.